who has it, and having intercourse without protection. The man has, without using a condom, actually can transmit it to you. Or he can also pick it from you and transmit it to somebody else. Okay? Yeah. So it's a 2-way or even 3-way, call it 3-way. So the best thing to do, is to zero grace. Call it that way. Have one partner and that is it.
Okay.
What about the vaccine to men? Because that's a very new thing. Men are pushing back on it.
Yeah, now.
So there are strains of HPV that can cause cancer.
That is true.
And these are part of pap smear. They screen for that every year because
it depends on the country and it depends on the guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this person asked, I'm trying to go back there. It's a serious issue. I was wondering if HPV 18, please tell us how many strains there are that can cause cancer, is cancerous in women, and is it equivalent to male infertility because men live in denial? I don't know what they mean by that. Probably you do. But can you please talk about HPV?
Okay.
How it's transmitted, what the carriers, etc., etc.
HPV, human papilloma virus, again, as the name suggests, is a viral disease, which there are hundreds of strains or hundreds of subgroups of HPV, and some of them we actually have seen. Maybe when we were growing up, you find somebody has something here which is growing. You think, in where I was coming from, where I come from, they used to say, huyu ni yule anachokoza watu. That is why it is growing there. But basically, it's a wart. Okay, so apart from other warts, it also is a cause of genital warts, and these genital warts can grow anywhere around the perineal area, can grow in the vulva, on the cervix, yes, and sometimes they're humongous and they also look like cabbage. When they come out, it's horrible. Sometimes when you look at them, you can have a nightmare. Now
that's shocking. It
is shocking, very, very shocking. Now, yes, there are strains. Actually, the gentleman who got a Nobel Prize for Medicine and Physiology was actually somebody from Germany who actually proved that HPV is the cause of cervical cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he actually went through in his research and he actually came up and said, look, this is actually the connection. And usually from infection until you have the first signs of cervical cancer, the time frame is about 15 to 20 years, which coincides with usually the time when a woman, ladies start having their first intercourse. So if your first intercourse around 15 years, 16 years, and then by the time we have the symptoms, the signs of cervical cancer, you're about in your 30s, late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
Now,
in this period,
yes,
if it's caught,
yes,
can it be prevented?
Now that is where the vaccine comes in.
Okay.
The vaccine comes in because before there was not this clear, connection between HPV and cervical cancer. Basically, we were not doing anything about it. A lady would come, and we see that there are vaginal warts. We would actually, treat them. There's something that we'd use and we'd treat them. If they are very big, we'd cut them and use liquid nitrogen to remove them. Or sometimes you just cauterize them with energy.
Okay.
Now, the fact that now we do have a vaccine, it is better to prevent than to wait. Nikipata ndio nitaenda kupata vaccine. It's better to go for the vaccine. Yeah. Now, there are different types of vaccines. There's a vaccine which covers only 2 of them, 2 subgroups. There's another one which covers 4 of them, what we call a quadrivalent vaccine. And there is a new one which is supposed to cover 9 subgroups, what we call a nanovalent vaccine. In our part of the world, we have the one that covers 2 and the one that covers 4. Talking about the pushback about the vaccine.
Let's talk about the pushback on vaccine.
And we're now running out of time. we are really running out of time.
Yes, but we do need to address because it's very important as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, before we even go there, there's the issue of how is it transmitted.
Yes.
It is a sexually transmitted disease. So you will get somebody who has who has it, and having intercourse without protection. The man has without using a condom, actually can transmit it to you, or he can also pick it from you and transmit it to somebody else. Okay, so it's a two-way or even three-way. Call it three-way. So the best thing to do, is to zero grace. Call it that way. Have one partner, and that is it.
Okay.
What about the vaccine to men? Because that's a very new thing. Men are pushing back on it. And then we finish.
Now we need to take a break. We actually need to take a break.
We'll take a break after this part.
And then we're going to come back.
2 minutes, and you take a break.
Okay, now the issue of vaccination actually is something which has been propagated for quite some time. And there is, because if we know that the life from infection to cervical cancer is about 15 years. So why don't we vaccinate all young girls such that by the time they get there, they will be protected, which is a good idea because prevention is better than cure. Now, they went a little bit further and said, why are we vaccinating only young girls? Why not vaccinate also the young boys as well? Which has actually been taken up by some countries. For example, in Australia, some states of Australia took it up very well, and they did that. Some countries in Europe have actually taken it up. Texas had a problem even with vaccinating the young girls themselves. In Kenya, what happened is that we had a pilot study where some counties, one of them I think was Kitui, and 2 or 3 others, whereby they actually got free vaccines to vaccinate girls. But there was a lot of pushback from the parents saying, no, what you're doing is actually you're opening the gates for these young girls later on to be promiscuous and so on and so forth. A small problem that people don't talk about is about those words, the boys actually getting those words in the trachea, the breathing tube. Because for those ones for the men who do oral sex, actually can get those words from an infected lady, and that can be a problem. A small problem as well is about penile cancer. They can also have penile cancer. Also the same sort of mechanism, even though the percentages are quite small.